Coming up on today's show, Ben Shaw helps people radically recreate their bodies and lives by rewiring subconscious patterns around weight, identity, safety, and self-trust. So conscious self-creation replaces struggle and change finally lasts. He's also a member of the LGBTQ plus community. Welcome to Loving Without Boundaries, where we hear inspiring stories, share actionable advice, and talk about the challenges and the joys of ethical non-monogamy and polyamory. I'm your host, Kitty Chambliss. Coming up, my conversation with Ben Shaw. Welcome back to Loving Without Boundaries, where I am super duper excited to be here speaking with a good friend of mine, Ben Shaw, that I got to meet in person. We realized it was probably over 6 years ago now. And he is a health and fitness life coach, and a damn good one at that. And I am excited to have a great conversation. So welcome to the show, Ben. It's great to see you.
Yes, great to see you too. For listeners, I've been here for a week because I came onto the show a week early. And I was like, where are you at? She's like, oh, it's next week, not this week.
Yep, and we had a really good laugh about that. And I was telling Ben today, like, we've all done it, so there's no shame around any of that. And I get time zones also mixed up all the time. So so I'm really excited to be here. And Ben and I have gotten to know each other because we are both coaches in different areas, and we're both really passionate about the work that we do. So we met in person at an event where we were together working with our business coaches that helped us learn how to serve more and more people and make a bigger impact. And we also went through something called Transformational Coaching Academy together, and we got to practice coaching each other, which was just really, really awesome. So just give a little context, and I'm sure that'll come up in our conversation. But I'd love it, Ben, if you could tell our listeners a little bit more about yourself in your own words.
So, as Kitty said, I'm Ben Shaw, health and fitness life coach. My mission is I help predominantly women radically recreate themselves through self-love and breaking through traumas that they carry on their bodies. Quite often we think of weight loss as just losing physical weight, and in reality, 99.9% of the time is losing the traumas that we've been carrying since we were kids. And most of those traumas are rooted in love, self-love, outward love, parental love, sibling love, broken relationship love. So it's not, coincidence that Kitty and I cross paths because both rooted in, love or lack thereof. Love makes the world go. It shapes us in so many different ways.
Wow, that's amazing, Ben. I don't think I knew some of the details of that. And you and I haven't spoken in a little while. And I guess it was 2024, I got another certification to be a trauma-informed and a trauma-sensitive coach. So I really love that additional insight. That is that newer, or has that always been the case that you've been working to release trauma in the body?
So it's always been the case. I've just probably, how should I say, it's evolved over the years, just like everything else with my business, with my relationships, me as a person. It's just evolved so much over the years from what it used to be. But it's always been the cornerstone, when it comes to our physicality. We're nothing physically without who we are spiritually, and how we, so how we love ourselves and how we see ourselves. Like that's mirrored every single day in our bodies. So it's always been the cornerstone, but I dived into it a lot more now, a lot more than most people really actually realize until they get started. They're like, oh my God, we're really going back, aren't we? I thought I was just losing some weight. Like, hey, that's what you thought.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, and I always thought you were awesome, just a beautiful soul. You emit such incredible energy, even here over Zoom. And I love you even more now knowing that, because I didn't realize that trauma piece to the work that you do. That's incredible. And another way that our work overlaps, because so many people that come to work with me, I mean, just as human beings, a lot of us have trauma, but certainly in the space that I'm in, which is very sex positive and often working with marginalized communities, quite often there's a lot of trauma around that as well. Sometimes people are estranged from their family for being who they are. So I see a lot of trauma all the time, which is partly why I did get that that advanced certification to be more trauma informed. So there's a lot of synergy in the work that we do, and I love fitness too. It's just not, it's, you know, indirectly related to the work that I do. Yeah. So, because I'm working more with the emotional and mental health than the physical health, but the physical health is related as well. So, really love that. So I'd love to, and I know we'll dive more into that as we go. But I'd love to go back in time a little bit, Ben, and ask you what I call the light bulb question, which
Okay.
is we live in a very heteronormative world, and there's, you know, definitely a lot of chaos around that as well right now. And so I'd love to, part of the work that I do here with the podcast is to share real life stories of people so that they can see themselves in the stories that we share. So I'm curious, when did you realize that maybe you were a little bit different from, say, the heteronormative folks that may have been around you, whether it was when you were a child, or it could be one moment or like a series of moments when you realized that you were a little bit different and you maybe started to go down that path, however you'd like to share that.
Honestly, I think that that light bulb moment when I knew that I wasn't like the other boys was
Mm-hmm.
probably 6 or 7 years old. I was very young, and I remember that, you know, I wasn't attracted to the women. I was attracted to the other boys, and I knew that there was something different. I grew up in a very religious household, so I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what that meant. Um, but it was something that was very, very blaring to me even as a child. And you know, going through the years and trying to figure out on my own, you know, kind of like muddling around through it through my teenage years and things like that. That's how myself, you know, I got a lot of trauma with with things growing up because of not knowing who I was, not, you know, understanding myself, not feeling accepted, not feeling, you know, welcome. I'm sure like a lot of your clients feel the same way, you know, with their journeys, not feeling accepted by their families and things like that. And it was just, how would I say, it was just a dark time. It felt like when I was a kid, you know, it just
Mm,
felt like not darkness in a way of darkness is something bad is going to happen. Darkness in a way of I just feel lost.
mm. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure a lot of our listeners, and including myself, can really identify with that. And I felt lost as a child at different times in my life. Maybe not necessarily related to my mission. I was just a very shy and awkward kid that just didn't feel like I fit in any way. But I've also felt lost in my adult life. So I think that's what you're saying can really resonate and help a lot of people to feel seen. So thank you for that. So how for our listeners who are just getting to know you, how do you identify today that like what is living your most authentic life mean to you?
So, I mean, living my most authentic life with just me being me. But, you know, as far as sexually, I'll be considered gay. But to me, it's just me. I just see me as me.
Hmm. And when did you said that you were talking about when it was a dark time, like when did you maybe first like understand that you were gay and be able to say that about yourself? And then maybe when did you start to, like, who did you tell first? Did you tell like some friends? Did you tell your parents? Like, tell me a little bit
So
about your coming out journey too.
I can remember when I was like about 15 years old, I told my older sister, who's like 5 years older than me,
Mhm.
and she was like, "Oh boy, I already knew that," you know.
I
But
already knew that. Is that what you said?
yeah,
Oh,
but
okay.
that was the end of the conversation. It was there was no more like, you know, tell me more. It was not like, what have you been going through? That was like, oh, I already know that. That was it. Just move on. So even though I told her, it felt like a weight off my shoulders that I actually told someone. I still didn't know what it mean. You know, like I said, I
Mm,
grew up in a religious household, so
mm,
about sexuality and things, we didn't see those kind of things. You
mhm.
know, I grew up watching things like the Cosby Show. It could, you know, like I had to watch things that were, as my parents call it, wholesome. You know, I couldn't just watch anything on TV. So I didn't even on TV get to see things about, you know, people who would be in different kind of relationships, or even like, you know, like with you with non-ethical relationship, non-ethical relationship. Like I didn't see
Mhm.
like that, you know. All I just seen was regular man, woman, married relationships.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
it was very confusing, you know, as I was growing up. that I felt very, very different
Hmm.
um, than anyone around, or the people that I was seeing them living their life. It just felt very different.
Hmm. Wow. And when was there a turning point for you when you started to feel more comfortable in your own skin? And maybe when did that happen for you?
That was probably in my oh, see, now you're finna mess me up because I always say I'm 29, and that's my story. That's yeah. But probably in my mid to late 20s is when I started really, you know, coming into my own.
Hmm.
And how do I say it? Not really giving a fuck what anybody else thought. Like this is
Uh-huh.
I gotta live it my way, and if someone doesn't like it, then they're not meant to be part of this journey.
Hmm.
So like my late 20s, I would say that I came into that mindset, and then I started digging more into my own traumas, my own things that were keeping me small, the ways that I looked at love, and another thing that we spoke about this before is when it comes to love. When I was younger, I seen love as a very much as a possessive thing, and it came from the people that I seen in relationships. My parents, my mom, my dad, married for 40 something years now. And it's like, they were always together, always this Christian couple. And all the people that I've seen around were these Christian couples that were one on one, and they were connected and committed to each other and only each other. So even when I did start dating, I was very possessive when it came to love. It was like, you're my boyfriend. You can't talk to anybody. I'm not talking to anybody. You're mine. I'm yours. We got to be together. It's like, that was the view that I had. And as I've grown older and more mature, and I've become more emotionally, sound, I've become more in tune with who I am. I've become more intelligent when it comes to my feelings and what I stand for, what I don't stand for. That's changed a lot. Now I see love as, if a person comes into my life and we're together, it's not like you're my possession. If you want to leave tomorrow, you can leave tomorrow. Will I mourn
Hmm.
you? Of course, I'm going to mourn what we had, but it's not like when you falling down, breaking apart, like, oh my God, now I'm going to stay at home and eat a pint of ice cream. Like, no, Hunter came into my life for a time, a season, to give me a lesson. They gave me that lesson. Now they've moved on. And I need to do the same thing. Now I need to move on to the next lesson that life has to give me. It's not about this person is a possession of mine. This person is someone who has to stay with me forever. I don't have to stay with them forever. Love is something that evolves.
So beautiful. And yeah, so much synergy in both of our missions, including like your personal journey through self-love and relationships and owning who you are. And I often say that with my work with clients, that people come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. So I love that you mentioned that too. And you don't know this, but I've been with my husband for 22 plus years. He actually did come to an event a few years ago, so some of our friends and coaches got to meet him. And I was in another relationship for almost 10 years that we separated, consciously uncoupled, last spring. So, just like you said, I went through my own journey, my own self-healing to figure out what did I learn from that relationship instead of staying in the trauma or the muck of all of that. So I definitely resonate with that.
Said You said I learned what did yeah, and it was what did I learn from that relationship, not
Uh,
what did I do wrong in that relationship. Because that's
yes.
we get into the mindset of what did I do wrong? Why didn't I make this work? What was wrong with me? Why couldn't I make it happen? And it's not about that. It's about learning that this was a lesson. That's all it was, simply a lesson.
Hmm. Yeah, and what was fascinating, have you ever heard of the book or the movement Consciously Uncoupling?
No.
So there's a website and a book related to that. And so when some of my clients told me about this, which is how I learned about it. And when I went through that separation, I went through, there's a lot of, there's like 5 steps, I believe, in the conscious uncoupling. And it's definitely written from a coaching standpoint. So I spent I think it was like 16 to 20 hours almost, going through all these self-reflective questions. And exactly to your point, as I went through all of it, I uncovered all of these traumas from my childhood that I thought were healed. And I was like, oh, that was showing up in this relationship. And I still got some work to do here.
Yeah.
And I'm a coach, so it was fascinating, and using the skills that you and I have, like we can also learn to coach ourselves. And sometimes it helps to have an outside person, but just even going through this book, like they were my guide to go on that journey. And I found all these things from my childhood or when I was a teenager, like my first love that went sideways that I still had to heal. So exactly like you said. So
And it's so crazy. We're like layers of an onion. Every time we think that we have it all done, it's like boom. Oh, but look at that. Boom. Oh, but look at that.
yeah.
And so many things that we don't even know are hindering us. And they're things that 99% of the time stem from our childhood.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Yeah, and my parents aren't with me anymore, and I'm at a point in my life where I'm estranged from my sister, so I also don't have a connection to that past. It's all work I gotta do inside of me, you know? Yeah, so I love that there's somebody like you that helps people through that.
And
Um,
it's funny, that conscious uncoupling. The first time I heard conscious uncoupling was actually from you when you had sent a message saying that, you had consciously uncoupled from your partner. And I was like, oh, that's a really cool way of saying it. I like how she said that. She consciously
that's
uncoupled.
so cool.
I never even knew that was a book.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, because you're on my list, so you saw that. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I
I
love
never
that we follow each other's work. You're so beautiful. Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, and it was an honor to be able to write that blog post because it's great to be able to point like for somebody like you to learn that term. And also when I'm working with clients, if they are going through a separation, I like to change the word breakup to, consciously uncoupling or separation. I can point them to that blog post. So I'm glad that it reached you too, so that you were like, hey, I never heard of that. That's really a cool way to say that. Yeah. A
Yeah.
new reframe. Yeah.
It's so crazy how when we go through these uncouplings, most people look at it like, oh, it's the end of the era. My life is falling apart. And when you look at it, when you actually boil it down to the simple science of it, it's like you feel your life is falling apart is because you attach your life to this person. You attach your meaning, your worth to someone else.
Mm.
And until we learn to get past that, all of our relationships will end like that, with us attaching our worth to someone else because relationships can't last if our worth is attached to someone else, not ourselves.
Hmm. Yeah, because that also can create like a codependent or toxic dynamic if we're being very
Correct.
clingy. And yeah, like and looking through a lens that may not be healthy about how to get your needs met. Like
Mhm.
you need to meet my needs instead of I can figure out how to meet my own needs and you're a complement to that,
Yeah. Like right
That's
now,
amazing.
the partner I have, we've been together for 3 years now.
Mm,
And one thing, we don't live together, and that's very good for me, because I like to have my own space. And I'm not a person that's clingy. I love our time when we're together. But I also love that when he has to go and visit his family lives in Ireland. So when he goes to visit his family for a few weeks, I love that too, because like now I get more time to miss you. It's not like me saying like, oh my God, what am I going to do? It's like, no, I can still do my business. I have more time to focus on my fitness. I have more time to focus on my cycling without having to worry about, keeping other plans as well with him. So it's like,
mhm,
I just change the perspective of that and look at it as it's me time. And then when he comes back, it's like, oh, now I've missed him so much because he's been gone. So I love that. It's not
mhm,
about having that same feeling of possession, like that person has to be here with me all the time.
mhm. That's amazing. That's amazing. And thank you for sharing that. And so you don't live together, but you at least live in the same general area. At the beginning,
Yeah.
you told me
So
you're. Go
in
ahead.
the beginning, we lived probably about an hour away because he was living in Bangkok and I was here in Pattaya. So it's about an hour or so away. But we would spend the weekends together. He recently, the last year, moved to the same city. So
Mm,
it's all, like now he lives only about like maybe 20, 30 minutes away. But the same thing is just, I'm never all over him. He's never all over me
mm,
because again, like, once you're secure with yourself and secure in your own self-love, you don't need that external force to validate that to you.
mhm. Wow, that's amazing. And if in case it helps any of our listeners, may I ask how you two met?
So we met at a elephant sanctuary here in Phuket.
At a
Yeah,
what sanctuary? An
elephant
elephant
sanctuary.
sanctuary.
Yeah, when you go and you
Wow.
eat elephants and things like that.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. That's very romantic, actually. To me, I love animals, so to me it sounds very
Yeah.
romantic. Yeah.
So we met there. We just exchanged numbers and we chatted for probably about maybe 3 or 4 weeks before we actually met up again. He was, like I said, still living in Bangkok at that time, and we just chatted, back and forth over the phone through text. And after about 3 weeks, we met up and went to a island together for the weekend. And since then, we've been, pretty much together. So
Wow, that's so beautiful. I'm so happy for you. That's amazing.
that's fun line.
Yeah, and I want to talk about your work as well. But before we get into that, just to go back to when you said around your, 20 to your mid to late 20s, you started to come into your own. Just in case this helps anybody, was there either like a, a question you asked yourself or a process that you took you through, or maybe an epiphany that you had that helped you to get to that place of coming into your own around that time?
So I think it was more just feeling just just tired of feeling on an island by myself, like I had to always be unsecure and uncertain.
Mm.
And it's like, I just wanted to be me. I just wanted to feel certain and safe about something. At that point it was like I hadn't told my parents, I hadn't really told many of my friends. So I just felt safe and uncertain about everything, which is kind of how I felt growing up, safe and uncertain all the time. And
Mhm,
like,
mhm.
some certainty about something in my life. And it's like if I can have certainty about one thing, it's me. That's the only thing I can really control is me.
Mm.
No, I just really started trying to find that certainty within myself. And my oldest sister started coming into my life more, and that helped a lot as well because she's very much a person that she doesn't care what people think. She's one of those, you don't pay my bills, so you know I don't care what you got to say. So she was like very much a big influence on me stepping out and speaking my truth, and being who I want to be without feeling judged.
That's amazing. You mentioned your sisters a couple times. How many siblings do you have?
3,
Are they all sisters?
I have 2 sisters and a brother.
Oh, okay. Okay. And that's kind of a nice segue into, since you are a beautiful gay man, I'm curious, like what was it that like what was the seed or the light bulb moment for you to decide that you wanted to work with mainly women and help them with their self-love and release trauma in their body? Like how did that come about?
No, it's so funny that it had nothing at all to do with my sexuality or anything. It's just
Mm,
that women have always gravitated toward me,
mm,
and it's maybe because I'm a very empathetic man. I can feel what other people feel. Like I feel their pain very well. And I guess women can feel my genuine heart. To have my heart here, my heart pillow we talked about.
oh yeah, your heart pillow. Yeah, we can talk
So
about that. Yeah.
yeah, so women have just gravitated toward me, and whenever I work with someone, whenever I'm coaching, I've always had a easier time coaching women and more success coaching women because women,
Mm,
they come in and they listen and they follow instructions. Guys, a lot of times they want to butt head with you and they want to like challenge this and challenge that, and it's like just follow the steps I'm giving you to get to where you want to go. Like, okay, let me follow these steps, and they have amazing results. But guys, a lot of times you have to like pull them and fight with them, especially when it comes to going to places where we as men don't want to go. And that's like, a place of what we feel is weakness. When we talk about our past traumas, things that we're still holding on to, things that are affecting our life today that we want to just cover up and pretend they're not there. And
mm,
to get out of those things, to get to that next level, you know, to get to that relationship, to get to that physique, to get that new career, no matter what it is, you gotta let some crap go. In order to let some
mm,
crap go, you gotta dig some crap up that's been hiding under the soil, that's been influencing your life. And
mm.
I find that guys have such a hard time doing that. Whereas women, they're more open, and it's like, it's never easy, but women are more susceptible to being like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I don't mind the pain. Maybe because you guys have given birth or something, like you don't mind pain. But guys, I found, are like, they struggle when it comes to pain. So especially emotional pain.
Wow.
So
Mm.
that's
Mhm.
why I mostly coach women. I do coach some guys, but mostly women.
That's fascinating. And this all totally makes sense to me, given my own experiences with coaching all different sexes and even, relationships I've had in the past that I'm no longer in, because that affects, how we get along in relationships if somebody is not really willing to look at their own emotional pain or trauma to release it, because that can again show up in relationships just like it can show up on our physical body. Yeah.
Right. And
Mhm.
it's like, it's so crazy with a guy, like he'll go to the gym, he'll hammer the gym all day. And you can hammer the gym 24, hours a day, 7 days a week, but it's not going to last until you deal with what caused the problem in the beginning. But guys
Mm.
do that. They want to do all the physical work, but not the emotional work.
That's fascinating. That's fascinating. So it sounds like you're maybe choosy with the men that you choose to work with to see if they're
Yes.
really going to be coachable. Is that
Correct.
right? Yeah.
I don't like
And
to have to like pull the mule the whole way. It's like, if I gotta like pull the mule a little bit, I'm okay with that. But not me fighting for your dream harder than you're willing to fight for it. No.
yeah, I hear you. I hear you. So I'd love to, if you have like even one or two or even three examples of maybe some of your most inspiring transformations. I think that could be really amazing to hear.
Okay, so I always love when a person transforms their body and they lose the weight, but that's not the biggest thing for me. My biggest success, my client lost 183 pounds, but that wasn't the thing that really like made me be like so in awe of her. It was that she literally recreated herself from the ground up. She was in a marriage that she had been in for 16 years at that point, and that was one of the things that was causing the issue that she had physically. She got into
Mm,
that marriage because she felt pressure to get into that marriage because slip ups, kids come along. It's like, oh, now I got to get married, and
mm,
the chain around her neck. And she got out of that relationship once she came into herself. Once we got rid of some trauma, once we got rid of some things that you know that were the chains making her feel like she had to stay there. Because that's the thing. A lot of times when we get to these relationships, especially when we have kids attached and things like that, we feel like we have to stay in them for the kids. We have to stay for our family. We have to stay in them. And in reality, we don't have to stay in them. We choose to stay in them. We choose to be the martyr, and put
mm.
ourselves, as the whipping boy or the whipping girl for this relationship just to hold face for someone else. But if we were to turn that page and look at look at our child and see our child going through that same pain, would we be okay with that? And no, we wouldn't be. Wouldn't be okay with our daughter staying in a relationship that she does not want to be in because she's trying to do it to make you happy. You wouldn't be okay with that, you know.
Mhm.
And it's like, if you would be okay with your daughter doing it, why would you be okay with you doing it? And I always tell my clients, see yourself as the small version of you, that version that always comes out. Is it the 6-year-old version of you when you think yourself as a kid? Is it the 9-year-old version? See her in that pain. What would you tell her? And nobody's going to
Mhm.
stay in that relationship that you don't want to be in, you know? So it's about being able to take the reins of your own life and just move forward and realize that at the end of the day, as much as you love your parents, as much as you love your friends and family, you have to live this life. You have to have it for yourself. Because
That's beautiful.
well, at the end of the day, they're not leaving this earth with you. You're leaving by yourself. So you need to live it for your own.
Mm, that got me
One of
right in
my
the feels. Yeah. What was
one of my
that?
other transformations
Oh, yeah.
hers was, again, she lost weight, but it wasn't the weight loss that got me. It was the fact that she went from being bound to a wheelchair for over 12 years to literally being able to go hike. And
What?
yeah, she sent me a message and sent me a picture, and she was like, "Look at my feet; they're hanging on the edge of a cliff." And she's like, "I have not walked in 12 years. Now here I am, hiking."
How is that possible?
Right? She had so much weight on her that she had damage in her knees, she had damage in her ankles, she had dropped foot. She was actually in a wheelchair when I first met her. She went from the wheelchair to crutches. Then went to braces on her legs, and now she's up walking. But it was more or less removing all the limitations that the weight had put on her. And so,
Wow, that's amazing.
once we have limitations, we grow up with these limitations. Like, like I said, I'm here in Thailand, and I see sometimes they have elephants, and the elephants are standing in one spot. And it's like, I was wondering how the elephants stand in one spot. So of course, I'm gonna ask Chat GPT all these questions and go down the Google rabbit hole until 3 a.m. asking all these questions about how elephants stay in one spot. But an elephant is like the strongest mammal, that there is. Like, an elephant can easily pull like this 10-ton truck. But yet a full-grown elephant will stay in space and like in one spot if you have a rope and a stick in the ground. And it's like the elephant could easily pull that stick up. But as a child, when the elephant's little, he's weak. They would put a chain on him and chain him to a tree. And he could never break that chain in that tree. So then as he got older, they would just make it smaller and smaller and smaller to the point where they would just put like a rope and a stick there. And in his mind, those limitations that were there when he was little still keeps him stuck in that same spot when he's this huge, amazing, unstoppable being at this point. But that little stick and that rope keeps him in place because of the mindset he has. He remembered that, I couldn't do it before.
Mm-hmm.
Trapped here before. And that's the thing. A lot of times when I have clients who have weight issues where, they've been belittled because of their weight, they've been passed over because of their weight, all these limitations, they stick with them.
Wow, that is absolutely incredible. And I love that you gave that example of the elephant standing in one spot and how you went down the rabbit hole, so to speak. So that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And it's an excellent example of how we can have these limitations just in our mind that we don't know how to get rid of. Like the elephant doesn't know how to lose that limitation. So just out of curiosity, the beautiful human who went out of the wheelchair and started to be able to hike, like just again to inspire people, how much weight did that person lose, and maybe how long did that from point A to point B take?
From a wheelchair, she dropped 175 pounds from a wheelchair. So
Wow.
two legs that are able and good. There's no excuse for you. But yeah, from a wheelchair, she dropped 175 pounds.
Wow. And then how long did that take?
2 years. It took her 2 years.
2 years. And was she working with you for the majority of that 2 years?
Yeah, the majority of that time she was working with me.
Wow, that is incredible.
I had to be very intentional because she was actually the first person that I had worked with that was I don't want to say disabled. That had limitations like that. Most of my clients who come to me, they are severely overweight, but they're fully, able-bodied people. But she was the first person who was, a little bit more limited. So I gave her a little more special attention. Actually, I surprised her at her house. When I first started working with her, she literally lived on the other side of the country. I lived in Florida. She lived in Portland. And she had got on our private group, and she was saying, because I give them 4 exercises to the beginning just to see where they're at, just to see their mobility, just see where their strength is. Because, you're going to look back at this and you're going to feel like, yeah, I'm weak, but look where I came from. And she came in our private group and wrote about how she's like, I did those 4 exercises. And on the last one, I was trying to get up and I fell and my pants came down. And she's like, and right now I'm sitting in my car crying. But I'm not crying because I'm embarrassed. She's like, I'm crying because I can't wait for people to see me transform. And it just like put something in me when she said that. And I was like, let me find a ticket to Portland. So I found a ticket to Portland. I have her address and everything, because when I have my client sign up, you don't have their address there with everything. So I went to her house and surprised her, knocked on her door. And she was like, what are you doing here? And I went to the gym with her. I spent a couple of days there with her. And I'd never done it with a client before, just flew there and surprised them, spent a couple of days with them.
Wow.
She just touched me from her desire to change so much. Like she was at a point where change had to happen for her and she knew it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Wow.
Who is like, she knows, it's time for a full transformation. It's time for change.
That is incredible. And it sounds like, is she still in your life in some capacity, in your circle?
She is.
That's amazing.
All my clients are still, in my circle. They reach out to me. They send me messages, And it's like I feel like a dad who's had kids that, have gone off, and the kid comes back and, says, "Hey dad, I was just thinking about you,"
Oh, that's incredible. What an amazing, heartwarming story. So inspiring. And that's awesome that you just decided to get a ticket to Portland and show up and work with her in person. That's so awesome. You just have such a big heart, and I thought this would be a nice segue. So I have a little heart pillow in my lap, a little red heart, and so does Ben. So I'd love it if you could maybe explain for our listeners why you have a red heart pillow like I do.
I have a red heart pillow because of Kitty. We were having a coaching session with each other one day, and Kitty was telling me about the heart pillow and how she holds her heart pillow when she's doing her coaching calls. And, she inspired me to do the same thing. And she's like, I'm trying to remember exactly the phrase you said, but the way you said it was like, I want my clients to feel my heart. So, how did you say it? You said it in a way that made me like feel it so deep at the time. So I was like, oh, I need this heart as well.
Yeah, and I honestly don't remember what I said either, but yeah, it's just it's just a reminder for me to get into my heart, to help them get into their heart and out of their head maybe.
Nice.
But yeah, no, it was an honor to coach you and to coach each other as we were becoming the best coaches that we can be. And I love the community that we found each other in, because it's just incredible people doing incredible things to help other people be their best selves. So really love your mission. And what do you maybe most excited about right now with your work or your life? What's lighting you up?
I'll just say my mission. My mission is probably the most exciting thing. Where, like I say, I'm living in Thailand right now, which is pretty exciting. And I'm a cyclist as well. I get to go to all these incredible places and cycle and see new things. We did 100-kilometer bike ride over the weekend, and we were going to a new cafe, and we go up the mountains, and then this huge elephant with this one tusk starts like coming out of the jungle, and it was like, whoever gets to see them, where you just cycling and some random elephant just coming out the jungle at you. But I get to see cool things like that. But it will definitely have to be still my mission, because my mission sticks with me. When I have clients who I see them make an amazing change. I see clients who have been in abusive relationships who finally get, the courage to lead it. And I see them come back on, like there's nothing more amazing than to see someone whose light had been dimmed by life, seeing that light come back on. Like, that's not something that you can buy. It's not something that a trip can replace. It's not something that, getting lean and strong can replace. It's just something that you just can't even put into words when you've helped someone find their light again. So I would say that definitely is the biggest thing that really inspires me and drives me right now.
That is so amazing. And how long have you been doing that work?
What's the most inspiring thing for you right now?
My most inspiring thing, I think right now, it's talking to you, honestly. And I'm saying that absolutely sincerely. Yeah, I was looking forward to creating this episode with you, and yeah, you're lighting my light at the moment, and so I'm just absolutely loving doing this interview, and it's re-inspiring me with my own work. So yeah, and that's from the heart. So beautiful. Yeah. And thank you for asking me that. But yeah. And I'm curious, how long have you been doing this coaching work?
14 years now.
Wow. That's incredible. Yeah. That's a long time. Yeah.
So 29, 19. So I started when I'm 15, so I could stay with my 29 age. Remember I said I'm 29?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I had to calculate back. So that means I started when I was 15, so I could stay with my age of 29, I told you.
Oh, yeah. There you go. I got
you. That back. Yeah. How old would I be? I
know. Well, you kind of have
29.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and you have like this beautiful ageless face and physique, of course. So yeah, I would believe it.
You know where it comes from? It comes from me saying I'm 29.
Exactly.
I stuck at 29 since I've been 29.
That's funny. And I usually say I'm 25, ironically. I feel 25. I like to think I look 25 with my purple hair. Yeah, 100%. So
You
I love
definitely
that.
had the 25 spirit. Like you just always been just a bright light.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, so I love that. You're going to stay 29. I'm going to stay 25, and we'll keep rocking our missions and continue to support each other's works. I absolutely 1,000,000% support the work that you do, the heart that you bring to it, the intentionality, like you said earlier, that you share with your clients. It's just so incredibly beautiful, and the world needs more of your energy. So I'm so glad that you're continuing to do the beautiful work that you do. So is there any question I didn't ask, or any like final message you'd love to give to our listeners before we start to tidy up our call?
I don't think there's any question that you didn't ask, but if there's one final message, I would just say don't compromise. Don't settle. Like we're not meant to be small in this world. We're not meant to dim our light and to compromise and to settle for what the world a lot of time has given us or made us think we were. Don't compromise. Just if you're compromising, find somebody to help you not compromise.
Beautiful message. Beautiful message. Yeah, and that's exactly what an honor and a privilege it is to be a coach to help somebody, because there's strength, there's courage in raising your hand and saying, "Hey, I could really use some help right now." So, thank you for sharing that, Ben. And so, how can people reach out to you and find you and your work if they would like to?
The easiest way is always my website, titantransformation.com, or Instagram, the weight loss genius. But website's always the easiest, quickest way usually. So find me on Facebook and YouTube as well, the Ben Shaw. But titantransformation.com, that sticks out a little bit more in their head. So
I love it. I love it. That's amazing. Well, thank you, Ben, so much for your time, for sticking with me, because we've actually talked about doing this episode for a while, and then we even got our schedules confused, but we did it. We did it. Yay. And I can't wait to release this out to the world, to share your message of light and hope, and don't compromise. That's incredible. So thank you so much. And
thank you
also
for
thank you for
having
being
me.
yeah, absolutely. And thank you for being a friend and a colleague and a beautiful, heart-centered peer in my world. It really means a lot to me.
And the same, you should know how much it means to me because I have this pillow with me here in Thailand. And as I was saying before, when I came here to Thailand, it was like almost like a knee-jerk kind of thing. So just really quickly before we get off, when I
Yeah.
first came here was 2020, back when the height of COVID was going on back in the States. And it was just
Hmm.
like a lot of craziness and the lockdown and stuff. I was like, I just want to get away from this for just a little bit. So I jumped through a million hoops to get to Thailand because Thailand at the time was completely wide open. It didn't have any shutdown and stuff, but you had to do like all kind of stuff to finally get in here. So I got into Thailand, and the day I got into Thailand, they went into lockdown.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then we had this we had to stay in a hotel, quarantine hotel for like 14 days and all that kind of stuff. But long story short, I was here for 3 months, and I had to go back to the States because, of course, we want to have a 3-month visa when you come in. So I had to go back to the States, and I just felt like soul crushingly sad. Like I felt
Mm.
like my purpose was to be here. Like I felt freer over here. I felt like I was more in touch with myself over here. So I went back to the States, and it was just like not for me. I'm like, yeah, this is not working. So a month later, I just packed up basically the things I could put in my suitcase. And I was like, I'm going to go back to Thailand for a year. If I told myself, it's been 4 now. But I just packed everything that I said that I knew I would need right now. I would use every day. If it doesn't fit into this big suitcase, I'm not taking it with me. But this pillow was one of the things, my heart pillow was one of the things that had no choice but to make it in that suitcase because it's something that I have every single day that I use all the time. So yeah, so I had to make sure that I brought my heart with me to Thailand.
Oh, that
Because
like
if I would
that.
not, he would be if it wasn't for you, Kitty, because you're the one who took.
Oh, that is so amazing. I didn't realize how deeply connected it feels like we are, because I'm sure that, there's when you see that heart, it reminds you of our
I think it's all the
conversation.
time. Yeah.
Oh, that is so amazing. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad that you told me that and are sharing it with our listeners. That absolutely just warms my soul, like from the toes all the way up. So
You don't even
I
know the difference you make.
Oh, thank you. I really, really received that. I really super appreciate that. Well, Ben, you are an incredible light to this world. I just honor you. I tip my hat to you. I share my
You,
heart pillow with you, and just thank you so much for the work that you do and for being part of my wider circle. The world is a better place with you in it. Absolutely.
thank you, Kitty.
Thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you like what you heard, are struggling with some aspect of your relationships, and you're interested in seeing if you're a fit to work with me as your relationship coach, here's what I invite you to do next. Head over to lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply. That's lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply, and book a call to speak with me. I'll get on the phone with you for about 45 minutes, and we'll get you crystal clear on 3 things. Number 1, exactly what's not working well in your relationships right now. Number 2, ideally where you'd like to be and what might be getting in the way. And number 3, the exact strategy to get you there, helping to close that gap. Remember, creating healthy, open relationships does not typically happen by itself. Many often need expert guidance to make it happen. We've helped clients all over the world to feel safe, happy, and secure in open relationships while not losing their mind or their cherished partners. To see if we can help you do the same, head over to lovingwithoutboundaries.com/apply. I'm Kitty Chambliss, and let's talk soon.